without further ado, I have the privilege to introduce my friend for over 30 years to make his special announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, Anthony Merante.
I want to thank everybody for coming out here this morning. This is going to be proved to be a historic campaign and victory. And I want to thank all you folks that encouraged me to get to this point, because obviously it's not easy getting to this particular point. You need some people to give you some motivation. And I got to tell you folks did it. Thank you very much. Families are what build strong communities.
Yes.
Right.
Strong communities build a great city. I don't feel that anymore in Yonkers. I feel a lot of long-term Yonkers residents are leaving us. Yes, some of them are leaving the state, but most of them are going north. But someone said to me, "But Anthony, people are moving in." And I had to correct them. That's not 100% true. People are buying our properties because we have value, there's no question about it. But they're renting them out.
Yep, that's right.
Some of them are taking single-family homes and making them illegal multifamily homes. That doesn't build communities. Now, don't get me wrong. There are a lot of great families moving into this city. But you know something? They're coming in and they're finding out the same problems that we have, and they're having buyer's remorse. And we can't let that happen. We cannot let that happen.
Right.
Yeah,
So, for me, the question is, why are people leaving? I think it's because they don't feel safe. I think people feel forgotten. When the residents of the city, it takes months to get building permits and inspections on work you haven't done in your house. The people feel forgotten.
Right. Yes, that's right.
When you can't get a pothole filled in a timely manner, people feel forgotten. How about if you haven't had your road paved in 15 years? People feel forgotten. People that have left us have basically said, "Forget you, Yonkers, I'm out of here." And that we cannot have anymore. We cannot have that anymore. I can tell you one thing for a fact, that I haven't forgotten you. I have not forgotten you. And because of that reason, we stand here today and I announce that I'm running for mayor of the city of Yonkers.
Good evening, Yonkers. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Tonight, Anthony Merante for mayor. Let's go over Anthony Merante's career here in the city of Yonkers as the councilman for the 6th Council District. I am Freddie Vasquez. Again, this is Basement Politics. Thank you for joining me. Good evening, folks. That's Anthony Merante, that guy. How you doing, folks? I'm Freddie Vasquez, Basement Politics. Anthony Merante announced over the weekend, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to go. I was working, but he announced that he's going to be running, and we knew that. I've said that, right? So it's really no surprise. I mean, no surprise to most people who are paying attention. But Anthony Merante made the announcement. I just played an edited clip of, I guess, his speech that he gave over at Mount Olympus Diner. It's a very famous, popular diner for the political elite, right? Here, Nick Spano likes to go there and hold meetings. Zahi Jarris, some anonymous texter once invited me there on Friday night to give me information. Never panned out, but that's a place where many people have met, and they say things have gone down. But Saturday, Anthony Merante announced that he would be running for mayor for the city of Yonkers. The only Republican that's announced so far, the only Republican that probably will announce, I mean, no one has been mentioned aside from Anthony Merante within the Republican Party that they would be running for mayor. Anthony Merante, been a councilman for 5 years now. He was elected in 2018, right? 2018. Again, like I said, he represents the District 6 here in the city of Yonkers. He says families build strong communities build great cities, right? And he's talking about people moving out. Why are people moving out? And maybe because this was an edited video, he says crime. That's all I hear him mention, the crime. Yes, crime is up, but I'm not so sure if that is particularly the reason why people are leaving the city in mass droves, right? Yonkers has seen crime on a rise before in the past, and it hasn't led to mass exodus. The real problem is affordability. That's right, Anthony Merante, affordability, right? Maybe, you don't understand that, man that owns a lot of businesses. Well, Anthony Merante is an educated man, holds a bachelor's. He is a certified public accountant. So he is formally trained to actually look at budgets, right, and review them and be able to make the best assessments and analysis for the city of Yonkers, but not not so much for the others, right? But Anthony Merante does, which is why I really hold him, a little bit more accountable, and I really hold his feet to the fire when it comes to the budget and understanding where is the money going. Where is the money going, Anthony? Because as I will show you here in a little bit, he does talk about Yonkers needing more money from the state. But he gives the same old spiel that all the elected officials, whether Democrats or Republicans, say when it comes to the lack of funds here in the city of Yonkers for much needed programs and our education and roads and everything else that the people of Yonkers so desperately need. He blames the state, says the state is not giving us our adequate funding. At the same time, he also states that the city of Yonkers receives a good amount of revenue. We do well. So why does it seem like we don't do well, right? And so I'm going to play a few clips here that I've actually got. And these clips some of them are from 2 years. I probably played most of them from 2 years ago. But I just want to give you a little bit of what Anthony Merante was saying then. He was in an interview with the Yonkers Voice to an individual that said, I don't think Anthony Merante's ever done an interview on the Yonkers Voice. Actually, he's done several interviews on the Yonkers Voice. But I took some clips. Oh, man. What was that? Oh, there we go. We're back on. Did I lose you guys? They're messing with me. Someone was just telling me that today, this early this afternoon. They were saying, I think they're messing with your podcast, man, because I'm having trouble commenting and stuff. Who knows? But anyway, folks, I want to talk, show you some videos here about a few different topics and see how Anthony Merante, what does he say about them, right? What does he say about pilots? Payments in lieu of taxes, which are the tax breaks that are given to these investors that are coming in. And that's a big deal because we need money, right? We need the money. So when you're giving these investors, these big developers coming in, all these tax breaks, and some of them can be 10, 20 years, right? That's a lot of money. I'm talking about millions and millions of dollars in tax revenue that the city loses while these developers continue to enrich themselves and make more millions, right? And the point of these pilots, the payments in lieu of taxes, is so that they are, fostering or fosters economic growth, right? The real purpose is to generate job growth, right? Create jobs and sustain jobs. So if the developer is looking to do a project here in the city of Yonkers and they're going to be bringing in a bunch of construction jobs, like they say, right? And they're going to have sustained jobs or retained jobs, then yeah, they'll qualify for pilots. And now the jobs are supposed to be created for the people of the city that issues that pilot, right? So it'd be city of Yonkers. So the employees or the construction companies or whatever these developers are going to need in terms of labor should be coming from the city. However, we have not seen that. Many of the contractors, not all the contractors, are coming from out of state, or some from north here in Rochester, but Connecticut, New Jersey. And no one here in the city of Yonkers is really being hired by any developer, any investor, any studios coming into the city of Yonkers. They're not hiring, although that's what we were promised. So what does Anthony Merante say about, our administrations, our city council approving the idea, I should say, the Yonkers Industrial Development Agency, giving out these pilots to these investors and these developers. And mind you, the Yonkers Industrial Development Agency is chaired by the mayor. He's the chairman. His sister-in-law, Jamie McGill Spano, the wife of Yonkers City Clerk Vinnie Spano, is the executive director. And James Kavanaugh, the husband of Wilson Kimball Kavanaugh, the CEO of Macy, Municipal Housing Authority of the City of Yonkers, and new chair of the Zoning Board of Appeal, right? Husband, James Kavanaugh, her husband, is the president of the YIDA. So it's pretty much all, wrapped up by Nick Spano. And what I mean by that, well, the mayor is his brother. Jamie McGill Spano, the executive director, is his sister-in-law. And James Kavanaugh is a longtime Spano friend, operative, and also a lobbyist who is a partner of Empire Strategic Planning. Many of the developers have hired Empire Strategic Planning for consulting services, specifically for here in Yonkers. So is Nick making a call to James and his sister-in-law and saying, hey, give my guys a pilot? We just signed a very big, lucrative contract, right? So what does Anthony Merante, the budget guy, the accountant, the one that watches the money, right? He reviews it. What does he say about pilots? And are they hurting us?
The IDA, they don't come to me and ask me to give certain forgivenesses, but I do know that some of the projects that I'm dealing with, that they're called pilots, payment in lieu of taxes, and I am not adverse to giving away certain things. So let me explain about the giveaways though. So let's understand that are we truly giving away something? Okay, and this is what happened down in the city with Amazon. Okay, people were saying that we're giving away. The answer is we technically aren't giving away. Okay, giving breaks. So, for instance, there's a project going on the west side. Believe it or not, my district does run over to North Broadway. Okay, there's a building there called Alder Manor. Okay, these folks, okay, that took over that project. Okay, that parcel of land was given the city of Yonkers a big goose egg. Okay. These folks came in, they're developing, they're trying to make it a source for weddings and stuff of that nature. And they signed a pilot agreement. Okay, so the pilot agreement had to come up with two numbers basically. What would be the real estate taxes on a property that was paying zero? Okay, which they think, the round numbers, let's say the number was $400,000. Well, I believe that they signed a pilot agreement for a few years for, say, $200,000 a year. So some people will turn around and say, you lost $200,000 a year? The difference between the 4 and the 2, right? I said, well, no, I gained $200,000 a year because it was 0 and now I'm getting 2. And I'm just throwing numbers out. I don't know the exact numbers offhand. But so when people say we're giving away things, we're not really giving it away, because on this flip side of it, we have people working there, and like the construction, when they build the buildings come into play, we may give them a mortgage tax, well, you know what? That's great. So it wasn't something that was taken away. It's really never something that was taken away. Okay, it's something that we didn't have, but we're getting another piece of. So I use my analogy of that property on North Broadway. It was a great, because it was 0 getting something. So
shit. Sorry. I wanted to I'm sorry. Did you hear me curse at least? Folks, I was on a roll with that one too. But what I was saying there was that Anthony Merante, going back to what he was saying there, going back to the example he gave, right? He's saying that, these lots that they have, the city's not generating any money. So he, believes that pilots are a good thing because the city then generates some money, right? Something is better than nothing, right? And he uses an example of $400,000, right? He goes, okay, let's say we get the property assessed at $400,000, and then we'll give them a pilot for $200,000, right? Meaning they save $200,000 a year for a few years. But the reality is that it's not, usually just a $200,000 savings for a few years. It's millions and millions of dollars a year, right? For 10, 15 years, maybe 20 years. And I was using the example of the residential buildings that are going up. They're getting tax breaks. They're not bringing jobs into this to people from the city. The contractors are coming from Connecticut, from Jersey, mostly from Connecticut. You see Connecticut plates all over now, right? There's even a RV going around Yonkers, parking around, overnight with Connecticut plates. I don't know what that's about, but they're not, so they're not using local labor. So people here are not making the money, and the retained jobs, right? Because most of the jobs that they do bring into this, bring to the city in construction are construction jobs, right? And that's temporary, and that's given to people from Connecticut. The ones that are retained are usually, about 2, 3, maybe 5, 6 jobs. You'd be lucky if they retain 10 jobs, right? Because all the contractors go back to Connecticut and go home. That's it, right? It's over. And so they're not paying, the full property taxes. And on top of that, they're bringing in a bunch of renters, right? And I'm not being negative about renters. That's not the point. The point I'm saying is that renters are not paying the property taxes. The building owners are getting millions in property tax breaks, yet they're still utilizing all the utilities, all the infrastructure, right, of the city, the sewage, the water, the trash pickups, right? Police, fire. They need all that still. That taxes the system, yet they're not paying their fair share of taxes, right? And so they're bringing in lots of renters like the Teutonia on Buena Vista that will be developed by AMS Acquisitions. 906 apartments with 900 parking spaces. And out of that, only 45 will be affordable apartments. So that's another thing. Not only are they, getting tax breaks, they're not utilizing local labor, but they're also getting away from including a fair share, really. 900 units, and you're only going to make 45 or set 45 aside for affordable housing during an affordable housing crisis. I mean, it's crazy, right? But they lobbied through Nick Spano, AMS, Ginsburg, and all those guys who build residentials and stuff to assure that the housing ordinance that was proposed in 2021 would not get passed. So instead of 20%, it remained at 10%. And so they get away with that. And so they put not even 5%, right? Or is he doing 5%? That's all they're going to put at the Teutonia. And so they're not giving anything really to the city. There is no real return on that investment, Anthony Merante. And sure, while we might be getting something, right, instead of nothing, are we, in the long run, are we really getting something? Because as I see it now, the city still needs a lot. Our school districts need a lot. Our roads are getting worse because of the developments. Worse, right? Is Con Edison going to go all around Yonkers whenever they get done, which could be another 10 years from now, to smooth out all the roads? Like Sawmill, Tuckahoe, Central Avenue still, crappy, right? So what are we really getting in return, Anthony? Are we losing a lot more, right? And why does he, so strongly adamant about the pilots, right? Is it because he's in favor of the developers as well? So I'm going to play another one here. I want to show you what Anthony Merante says in regards to Mike Breen, right? They talk about their relationship with Breen. What's going on here? I'm having issues with you guys see that? I'm having some issues with my computer here, right? So many reasons for exodus: poor quality of life, wasteful spending, pay for play, nepotism, and lack of affordability and accountability to the public, along with poor education, now the dirtiest city. Yes, We are now the dirtiest city. Well, no, not the dirtiest, but the 10th dirtiest city in the country, which says a lot, right? The 10th in the country. I'm not sure how many cities are here in the United States. And if you guys know, please let me know. But yeah, right. They're leaving for many reasons, but I think the primary reason is the affordability, because Yonkers, the crime, we've had our crime issues in the past. We've had, dirtiness in the past. I mean, some places have always been dirty, really, right? And I've gone up to, Elm Street and filmed the dirt and nastiness along the curb, right? And I've gotten that cleaned up, and I've gone over there and seen fire hydrants broken, and I've gotten that fixed. And I've shown you guys potholes that have blown my tire out, and I've gotten them patched up. And so Anthony Merante, in his speech where he was announcing that he will be running for mayor, says, the people are tired of being forgotten. How long is it going to take to get a pothole patched up? Well, Anthony, I got one patched up in a matter of hours. Why? Because I spoke to the people about it. I went out there in Central Avenue. I got out my car, and I showed the city of Yonkers the potholes. I showed them the one that I hit, and I made a big deal about it. And that's how you get things done. So when the constituents call you and say, hey, we need a pothole fix, it should get fixed it should get patched up within a matter of hours, especially if they blew a tire on it, Anthony. Don't you agree? I mean, I was able to do it, so it's not impossible. And again, I have not been elected. You have. And now you want to have the top job in the city of Yonkers? If you can do it, and a regular citizen, resident of the city of Yonkers can do it, why should the people elect you mayor? I'm just saying. I've been able to get things done, Anthony, in a matter of hours. The pump, the fire hydrant, they fixed that, right away, Anthony, because you have to be out there. You have to be out in the community. You have to see these problems, and you have to show it to them and put it in their face, and they'll get it fixed. If you want to be a mayor, you got to be tough. What does he say about unions here? Oh, shoot. I don't know what's going on here with my equipment. Not sure what happened here, Mike. Well, folks, I'm not sure if you can hear me, but my stuff is freezing up here, so I don't know what's going on here. This Microsoft Teams thing, I don't know why that opens up. So anyway, I don't know if I'm back here. I hope that I'm back, but Facebook always gives me like a problem, and it freezes everything up. Unbelievable. Freddie, you got it done very quick, I must say. All I can surmise is that they wanted to shut you up. Keep it up, getting the people's work done. Yeah, I'm out there, just, you got to speak on it. That's what I'm saying. You got to, be vocal about it. And, I'm fortunate enough to be in unique circumstances where I'm able to, have the time, to do that, because of, because I own my own business. So, I'm not stationed any one place for, a certain amount of hours, but, so I utilize that. Right. And somebody says, how you have all this time? Sometimes I'm up late researching. That's why maybe you've seen me on the podcast and I've looked tired because I've seen myself like, yo, you look kind of tired. Right. But, we got to get it done. You know what I'm saying? We have to do it, and I get it. Not everyone has the unique opportunity like I do. So I'll pick up that slack for all of us. Right. But, I just believe that anyone wanting to be an elected official has to be strong. You have to go in there. You have to call it like you see it. You have to speak out. You have to be honest and upfront and truthful about it, right? Don't BS. Don't play politics. That's the problem with politics. Everyone's playing politics. And what's not happening is that the job is not getting done and the people are getting the short end of the stick. So stop playing politics and get it done. Call it like you see it, Anthony. There's things that he says here, and I want to show that, where he talks about, favors and the administration, the mayor giving people jobs, right? But really just put it out there, Anthony. Say the mayor, right? And nepotism is a problem here. It's a huge problem. And we have to do something about it. We cannot allow for this nepotism to continue in the city of Yonkers, or we cannot allow for Empire Strategic Planning to operate here in the city of Yonkers. That is a problem when our elected officials are being, influenced, right, by developers, by business and financial interests tied to the mayor and his brother and others that are close to the mayor. Call it out, Anthony, if you want to be a mayor, if you want to be the leader of the third largest city in the state of New York. You have to be strong. You have to kick ass and take names. Excuse my language. I'm just saying, right? That's what I believe, But I've learned to do it in a more tame manner, right? And people are telling me, Freddie, you got it. All right, so I'm hoping to the person I spoke to very recently, how am I doing? Right? I do take advice, right?
Dr. Casado was put into a position to sign a contract that he couldn't afford a couple of years ago. We got to make sure that doesn't happen.
Here he's talking about contracts, right? He's the finance guy, Merante.
And as far as the teachers are concerned, you got to. So same thing with contracts. We can't keep signing contracts we can't afford. Dr. Casado was put into a position to sign a contract that he couldn't afford a couple of years ago. We got to make sure that doesn't happen again. And as far as the teachers are concerned, listen. They remember. Teachers earn their money every day. Don't get me wrong. My situation, and one of the things I brought up on the budget hearings was we have too many teachers in the top tier. You have almost 1,000 teachers out of 1,600 or so, which is almost like 60% of the teachers making an average of $140,000 a year. Do they deserve it? Absolutely. It's a hard job.
Well,
we
Mr.
can't.
Merante,
Without a farm system, we can't succeed without a farm system.
No, I don't think anyone implies that the teachers don't deserve what they make. They are the foundations for the success of our kids. We all know that. But sometimes, even on your own personal life, my personal life,
it's not meant to happen.
If we're going through
now I got stuck listening to
hard financial.
Unreal. What's going on here? Unreal.